Hi, my name is Roland Sawatsky. I'm the Curator of History here at the Manitoba Museum. And today I want to show you a very special camera that was recently donated for the history collection. And this is called a Devon TriColor camera. It was invented in the 1930s and it was used here in Winnipeg. And this particular model was used for a very special picture in Winnipeg in 1939, and I'll get to that a little bit later. So the Devon TriColor basically takes full-color photographs, which was unusual at the time. Most cameras, especially journalists, were taking pictures that were in black and white. They were detailed. They could be very artistic, very clear. But color photography was something that was still experimental at the time. And this was developed for journalists and for professionals. It's extremely large, you can see, and very, very heavy, over 20 pounds. So it would be mounted on a tripod. And the way it takes color photographs is very ingenious. It actually has, you take the picture here through the lens as usual, and then the light goes through and it bounces around into 3 different chambers inside. And there are 2 celluloid sort of plastic films that are inside the chambers, and they let light through, but they also bounce it into the other areas. And basically you have 3 glass colored filters, and you put a negative behind there and it'll filter out that color, and then you're basically taking 3 negatives simultaneously, and then in the development process you combine the 3 different negatives and you get a full color picture. So it's extremely detailed work, heavy to lug around, but in the hands of a professional the results could be really astonishing. So I was talking about the picture that this camera actually took, and it was printed in the Winnipeg Free Press on May 25th, 1939, and it was a picture of the royal visit of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. Now, in modern day archives of old newspapers, they're usually transferred in black and white, either on microfilm or digitally. So it's hard to go back to those records and see any color photographs, because 99% of everything was black and white anyways until the 1970s and 80s. So we had to find an actual physical clipping of this image to see what the color picture would have looked like. Luckily, we have a very large collection of memorabilia from that 1939 visit, and one of those pieces is this scrapbook. So you can see it's actually the scrapbook of Their Majesty's visit to Canada, 1939. And in this book, someone had gone to the trouble of clipping out that photograph. So this is the actual printed image of the picture taken by this particular camera. So this image was taken at 11:05, May 24th, 1939. It was a Wednesday. It was a rainy day. By Maurice Lyell, who worked for Brigden's studio, photography studio here in Winnipeg. And the 3 negatives were rushed to the Winnipeg Free Press. They were developed into positives, and then a team of workers at the Free Press processed it, and then it was able to be printed the next day. And this is, in fact, the first time in North America that a news event, a picture from a news event, was printed in color the very next day. So this was something they were very proud of. They crowed about it in the newspaper itself, that here we have a first color image.